You know what's crazy? The moment a woman decides to walk alone, literally or metaphorically, something powerful happens. It's not about loneliness, it's about strength. It's about choosing yourself, trusting your instincts, and moving forward even when the path isn't clear. Because the truth is, the world isn't always built for women who choose to stand on their own. But that's exactly why it's so important. Walking alone isn't a weakness, it's a declaration. It says, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I don't need permission to. Embracing independence is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make, and for a woman, it can be a bold declaration of self-worth and strength. Independence isn't just about being physically alone. It's about the mindset of self-reliance, trust, and the courage to move forward without needing validation or approval from others. It's about recognizing that while companionship and community are valuable, they should never define your sense of direction, purpose, or value. When a woman chooses to walk alone, she isn't just stepping into an empty space. She's stepping into her power, owning her voice, and claiming authority over her life. There's a common misconception that independence is cold or isolating, but in reality, it's the foundation of confidence and inner peace. Independence means understanding that you are capable of making decisions, solving problems, and shaping your life, even when it's hard. It means facing situations where you might be uncertain or uncomfortable, but trusting that you have the strength and resilience to figure it out. This kind of strength isn't always loud or obvious. It's quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It grows every time you choose to take a step forward. Even when the world tells you to wait, to hold back, or to rely on someone else for security. Walking alone also means learning to enjoy your own company and to appreciate the depth of who you are. In solitude, you find clarity. You begin to understand your thoughts, your dreams, and your fears without the noise of outside opinions. You start asking yourself what you truly want, not what's expected of you. You realize that independence isn't about shutting people out, but about creating space for your own voice to be heard. It's about making decisions that align with your values and beliefs, even when they don't make sense to anyone else. And let's be real, it's not always easy. Choosing independence often means facing criticism, doubt, and even loneliness. There will be moments when you question whether the path you've chosen is worth it. But here's the truth. Every step you take alone builds confidence. Every challenge you overcome becomes proof of your strength. And every time you trust yourself, that trust deepens. You learn that you don't need to be fearless to be independent. You just need to be willing to face fear and keep going anyway. The beauty of embracing independence is that it opens doors to personal growth. You become more adaptable, more resilient, and more in tune with your own desires and purpose. You learn to navigate uncertainty with courage. You stop waiting for someone else to define your path or give you permission to chase your dreams. You start writing your own story one step at a time, and through that process, you realize that the journey, though challenging, is also liberating. Because true independence isn't about being alone, it's about being free. The power of solitude is one of the most underestimated forces in personal growth and self-discovery. In a world that often equates being alone with loneliness, it's easy to overlook the strength that comes from spending intentional time with yourself. Solitude is not about isolation or disconnection. It's about creating space to hear your own thoughts, reflect deeply, and understand who you are beneath the surface of external expectations and noise. When a woman chooses to walk alone, she steps into a space where clarity, strength, and personal insight can emerge. There is something transformative about being comfortable in your own company. It allows you to face yourself without distractions, to confront your fears, and to celebrate your strengths. In solitude, there's no one to impress, no one to validate your choices, and no one to shape your narrative. It's just you, raw, honest, and authentic. And while that might feel uncomfortable at first, it's in that discomfort that growth happens. You begin to peel back the layers of who you've been told to be and start discovering who you really are. You begin to listen to your inner voice, the one that's often drowned out by the opinions, judgments, and expectations of the world. Solitude is also where resilience is built. When you're alone, you learn to rely on your own strength. You figure out how to solve problems, how to comfort yourself, and how to keep moving forward even when no one is cheering you on. This self-reliance becomes a foundation that carries you through life's challenges. You stop looking to others for answers and start trusting that you have the wisdom within you to figure things out. That's a powerful shift because once you trust yourself, you stop fearing the unknown. You realize that no matter what happens, you have the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow. But solitude isn't just about building resilience. It's also about creativity and vision. When you step away from the noise, you give your mind the freedom to wander, to dream, and to imagine new possibilities. Some of the greatest ideas, breakthroughs, and insights come in moments of quiet reflection. Without the constant influence of other voices, you can think deeply and freely. You start asking bigger questions about life, purpose, and passion. You start exploring what truly excites you and what kind of impact you want to make. And in that space, you can begin to create a life that feels authentic and meaningful. Most importantly, solitude teaches self-acceptance. When you spend time alone, you learn to befriend yourself. You become more compassionate with your flaws and more appreciative of your strengths. You start to enjoy your own company and to feel at home with who you are. This kind of self-love is unshakable because it isn't dependent on anyone else's approval. It's rooted in knowing that you are enough, just as you are. And from that place of acceptance, you find a deeper sense of peace and confidence. You realize that being alone isn't something to fear. It's a powerful space where you can reconnect with yourself and grow into the person you were meant to be. Trusting your instincts is one of the most powerful and essential skills a woman can develop, especially when walking alone through life's uncertain paths. Instincts are that inner voice, that gut feeling, that quiet nudge urging you to move in a certain direction or to be cautious when something feels off. It's an internal compass that, when honored, can guide you toward choices that align with your deepest values and protect you from potential harm. But trusting your instincts isn't always easy, especially in a world that often teaches women to doubt themselves, to seek external approval, and to second-guess their own perceptions. Yet, learning to trust that inner voice is one of the most empowering acts of self-belief. From a young age, many women are conditioned to prioritize politeness over intuition, to second-guess their gut feelings in favor of pleasing others, or to dismiss their concerns to avoid seeming difficult. But instincts exist for a reason. They are rooted in deep, subconscious wisdom formed through experience, observation, and survival. When a woman walks alone, whether literally or in the context of her personal journey, trusting those instincts can be the difference between safety and risk, between progress and stagnation. It is a form of self-protection, but it's also a guide toward authentic living. When you trust your instincts, you learn to tune in to what feels right for you, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You begin to move through life with a sense of clarity and confidence that comes from within, not from external validation. Of course, trusting your instincts can be challenging. Fear, self-doubt, and the desire for certainty can cloud judgment. There will be moments when you'll question whether you're making the right choice, whether you're seeing things clearly, or whether you're just overthinking. But the more you practice listening to that inner voice, the stronger it becomes. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the more you trust it. You learn to recognize the difference between fear that's holding you back and intuition that's protecting you. You start to sense when something feels aligned and when it doesn't. And over time, you gain confidence in your ability to make decisions that serve your highest good. There's also incredible freedom in trusting your instincts. It means you don't have to constantly seek advice or approval from others. You don't have to wait for someone to tell you it's okay to move forward. You trust that you know yourself well enough to choose your own path. That doesn't mean you'll always get it right. Mistakes are part of the journey. But even when you misstep, trusting your instincts gives you the courage to learn and recalibrate. It gives you ownership of your life. You're not just reacting to circumstances, you're actively shaping your journey. Most importantly, trusting your instincts is about honoring yourself. It's about believing that your experiences, your feelings, and your observations are valid. It's about saying, I know myself, I trust myself, and I'm willing to follow that trust even when it feels uncomfortable. This level of self-trust is liberating. It means you no longer have to shrink yourself to fit into expectations. You no longer have to silence your inner voice to keep others comfortable. You get to stand in your power, grounded in the belief that you are capable, intuitive, and strong. And when you walk through life with that kind of trust, you walk with purpose, courage, and unstoppable strength. Facing fear with courage is one of the most defining aspects of walking alone, and it is a true testament to personal strength. Fear is a natural response to uncertainty, challenge, or danger. It's the voice that whispers, what if I fail, or what if I'm not strong enough? Fear can be paralyzing, keeping us rooted in comfort zones and preventing growth. But courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. When a woman chooses to walk alone, she isn't saying she's fearless. She's saying that her purpose, her goals, and her self-belief matter more than the fear trying to hold her back. Fear comes in many forms. It can be fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of failure, or even fear of success. Sometimes it's the fear of being misunderstood, of standing out, or of walking a path that no one else understands. These fears can feel overwhelming, and it's easy to believe that staying safe, small, and silent is easier. But staying safe often means staying stuck. Growth only happens when we dare to step beyond what's comfortable. Courage is about acknowledging the fear, understanding where it comes from, and choosing to act anyway. It's about saying, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I'm uncertain. But I'm going to try because my dreams are worth it. The thing about courage is that it's built in moments of vulnerability. It grows every time you face something that scares you and choose to push through. It's built when you take that first step toward a goal that feels impossible, or when you speak up for yourself even though your voice shakes. Every small act of courage compounds, and over time, what once felt terrifying begins to feel possible. You realize that fear is often just a signal that you're stepping into new territory. And while new territory can feel risky, it's also where transformation happens. Facing fear also means embracing failure. Because let's be honest, when you walk alone, when you take bold steps, failure is inevitable. But failure isn't a sign that you should stop. It's proof that you're trying, that you're learning, that you're brave enough to take risks. Each setback teaches you resilience. Each challenge reveals new strength. Courage isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about knowing that mistakes are part of the process and choosing to keep going anyway. The most courageous people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who fall, learn, and rise again, stronger each time. What makes courage even more powerful is that it redefines how you see yourself. When you choose courage over comfort, you begin to build a self-image rooted in strength and possibility. You prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. You realize that fear loses its power when you stop running from it. Instead of seeing fear as an enemy, you begin to see it as a signpost. It tells you that you're on the edge of growth, standing at the doorway of something new. And here's the most liberating part. When you face fear with courage, you inspire others to do the same. You show that bravery isn't about being perfect or unshakable. It's about being real, vulnerable, and determined. You give others permission to face their own fears, to take their own bold steps. And in doing so, you create a ripple effect of courage that extends far beyond your own journey. Because courage is contagious. It grows stronger every time it's shared. And when you choose to face fear with courage, you don't just change your own life, you light the way for others to follow. Breaking social norms is one of the most challenging yet empowering aspects of walking alone. Society has long shaped expectations about how women should behave, what paths they should follow, and where their value lies. These norms can be limiting, often rooted in tradition, stereotypes, and outdated beliefs that tell women to stay within certain boundaries, be it in their careers, relationships, or personal choices. But breaking free from these expectations is a powerful act of courage and self-definition. It's about deciding that your life is yours to shape, even if it means walking a road that few understand or approve of. Social norms can be subtle, woven into everyday conversations and assumptions. They can dictate how women are expected to dress, speak, and behave. They influence decisions about marriage, motherhood, career choices, and even personal passions. Often these norms are enforced through fear of judgment, criticism, or being seen as different. Women who choose to walk alone, who carve their own paths and challenge these expectations, are often met with resistance. They might be labeled as rebellious, difficult, or selfish. But the truth is, breaking social norms isn't about defiance for the sake of it. It's about freedom. It's about creating a life that feels authentic and meaningful, even if it looks nothing like what others expect. Walking alone and breaking social norms means rejecting the idea that your worth is defined by someone else's rules. It means choosing to prioritize your own voice over external approval. It's about asking yourself, what do I really want? And having the courage to pursue it even when it feels uncomfortable. It might look like choosing not to settle in a relationship that doesn't serve you, even when society says it's time to settle down. It might be about pursuing an unconventional career path or choosing to travel alone. It could be as simple as speaking your truth, refusing to stay silent in the face of injustice, or making choices that prioritize your well-being over pleasing others. But breaking social norms isn't easy. It often means standing alone, facing criticism, and dealing with the discomfort of being misunderstood. It means learning to validate yourself instead of seeking approval. And it means accepting that not everyone will support your journey. Yet in that challenge lies immense power. Because every time you choose to break a norm that doesn't serve you, you expand what's possible, not just for yourself, but for others. You show that there's more than one way to live, more than one path to happiness and fulfillment. You inspire others to question the rules they've been taught and to consider what freedom really looks like. What's truly liberating is that once you begin breaking norms, you realize how arbitrary many of them are. You see how often they're rooted in fear and control rather than truth or personal growth. You understand that living authentically might not always be easy, but it is deeply fulfilling. You learn that freedom is worth the discomfort, and that walking alone, though challenging, can be a path to discovering your deepest strength. You stop living to meet expectations and start living to meet your potential. And over time, your courage creates change. Every woman who breaks a social norm makes it easier for the next to do the same. You become part of a larger movement that redefines strength, courage, and possibility. You prove that there is power in walking alone, in choosing your own way, and in creating a life that is deeply and unapologetically yours. Owning your journey is about taking full responsibility for the path you choose in life. It's about accepting that while you may not control every circumstance, you do have control over how you respond, how you move forward, and how you shape your experiences. When a woman decides to walk alone, she's making a conscious choice to own her story, to embrace both the triumphs and the trials as part of her unique journey. It's about understanding that the road may be difficult, misunderstood, or even lonely at times, but it is hers, and that ownership is a powerful declaration of self-worth, confidence, and independence. Owning your journey means letting go of the need for external validation. It means no longer living to meet someone else's expectations or waiting for approval to pursue your dreams. It's about deciding that you are the author of your life and no one else gets to write the chapters for you. There's freedom in that realization. You no longer feel trapped by what society, family, or friends think is best for you. You stop chasing paths that don't align with your purpose, and you start making choices that reflect who you truly are. That doesn't mean the journey will be smooth or easy. Real growth rarely is. But it does mean that every step you take is intentional, meaningful, and authentically yours. Taking ownership of your journey also means embracing your mistakes. There will be times when you make wrong turns, face setbacks, or feel uncertain. But owning your journey means accepting these moments not as failures, but as lessons. Each challenge, each misstep is part of the process of becoming stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. When you own your journey, you stop blaming others for where you are in life. And you stop making excuses. Instead, you face your choices head-on, take responsibility, and focus on how to move forward. This mindset builds resilience. It teaches you that no matter what happens, you have the power to shape the next chapter. Owning your journey also requires a deep level of honesty with yourself. It means asking tough questions. What do I really want? What am I willing to risk for it? What beliefs are holding me back? It means confronting fears, doubts, and insecurities, not to be defeated by them, but to understand them. It means taking full accountability for your actions and decisions, even when they're uncomfortable. This level of self-awareness is empowering because it leads to clarity. When you know what drives you, what inspires you, and what matters most, you can make choices that align with your true purpose. And perhaps most importantly, owning your journey means celebrating your progress. Too often we focus only on how far we still have to go and forget to honor how far we've already come. Every small victory, every challenge overcome is part of the story you're writing. When you own your journey, you recognize that every experience, good or bad, has shaped you into the person you are today. And that's something to be proud of. Owning your journey is about claiming your power. It's about understanding that your path may look different from others, and that's okay. You're not here to live someone else's life. You're here to live yours, fully and unapologetically. And when you take ownership of that, you walk through life with a sense of purpose and strength that no one can take from you. You realize that while the path may be challenging, it is also beautiful because it is entirely yours. Embracing self-discovery is one of the most transformative aspects of walking alone. It's a journey that requires courage, patience, and vulnerability, but it is also the path to finding your true self. Self-discovery is about peeling back the layers of who you've been told to be, confronting your fears, understanding your desires, and embracing every part of who you are, flaws, strengths, and everything in between. It's not about becoming someone new, but about uncovering the person you've always been beneath external expectations, societal roles, and self-imposed limitations. When a woman walks alone, she is given the rare opportunity to turn inward and ask deep, meaningful questions. Who am I? What do I value? What do I want from life? These aren't easy questions to answer, and they often lead to uncomfortable realizations. You might discover that the life you've been living isn't aligned with who you truly are. You might realize that some relationships, habits, or beliefs no longer serve your growth. And while that awareness can be painful, it's also empowering. Because once you see the truth, you have the power to change it. You begin to make choices that reflect your authentic self, not who you feel pressured to be. Self-discovery is also about embracing vulnerability. It's about being honest with yourself about your fears, insecurities, and desires. It requires facing the parts of yourself you may have tried to hide or ignore. This can be challenging because it means confronting uncomfortable emotions, acknowledging past mistakes, and accepting imperfections. But it's in this raw honesty that real growth happens. You learn that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to be real, to be open, and to accept yourself fully, even when it feels uncomfortable. Another crucial part of self-discovery is understanding your passions and purpose. When you walk alone, free from distractions, you gain clarity about what excites you, what fulfills you, and what drives you. You have the space to explore your interests, to try new things, and to discover what makes you feel alive. You begin to ask, what kind of life do I want to create? What legacy do I want to leave? And in seeking those answers, you start to shape a life that feels meaningful and intentional. You stop following paths that don't align with your vision, and you start carving a journey that reflects who you truly are. Embracing self-discovery also means practicing self-compassion. It's about understanding that growth is a process and that you don't have to have all the answers right away. You learn to be patient with yourself, to forgive mistakes, and to celebrate progress, no matter how small. You realize that self-discovery isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance. It's about loving yourself, not just for who you hope to become, but for who you are right now. Embracing self-discovery is about freedom. It's about breaking free from the need to fit in, to be understood by everyone, or to meet external expectations. It's about claiming your identity, owning your story, and living in alignment with your deepest truth. It's understanding that the journey to know yourself is lifelong, but every step is worth it. Because when you truly know who you are, you move through the world with confidence and purpose. You stop seeking validation from others and find fulfillment within yourself. And that is one of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself. Walking alone is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to unwavering strength, courage, and self-belief. It is a journey that demands trust in your instincts, the bravery to face fears, and the resilience to break free from limiting norms. It calls for embracing solitude, owning every step of your path, and committing to the lifelong process of self-discovery. This journey isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable, worthy, and powerful beyond measure. Yes, the road may be challenging. Yes, there will be moments of doubt, discomfort, and even loneliness. But it is in those very moments that you will find your true strength. You will learn that every step you take, no matter how small, is shaping the woman you are becoming. And as you walk alone, you will realize that you are never truly alone. You are walking with purpose, with courage, and with an unshakable sense of self. You are walking with the power to shape your destiny, to break barriers, and to inspire others to do the same. So, embrace the walk, trust the journey, and know that every courageous step forward is a victory because it is yours and it is unstoppable.